Because we start to grow that talent here in and amongst us. And so that now when these kids graduate, those that don't go on to college, they have a marketable skill. They have something that we have given them. How many people, plumbers make a pretty good chunk of change. What's wrong with teaching kids to understand math and the development of metrics and how you apply that to piping? There's nothing wrong with that. We've got to give them tools to go into their toolbox. We're not doing that. They come to us, as the young lady up here is about to enter the first grade, they come to us with that empty toolbox. And they expect us as parents, they expect us as a community, they expect us as the school teachers to put tools in that toolbox for them so that they can go out and be productive members of society in our local communities. So one of the critical things I think that we have to understand is from a federal government level, the federal government has to realize that you cannot have these academics and these bureaucrats that sit so far away and believe that they can come up with these specific policies that can have a cookie-cutter approach all across this country. We've got to decentralize it. We've got to push it back down to the local communities. We've got to empower these school boards to get out and talk to the parents. The parents have to talk to the teachers. It's sad when you go to some of these open houses for some of these schools. The teachers are sitting there all by themselves. Somehow we've got to reconnect the schools with the teachers. But it starts down here at the local level. It is not about up there in Washington, D.C., where all of a sudden we saw an agency go from 450 to 4,800. We have to have a government at the federal level. We have to have people that understand the policies up there are to set the conditions for the success down here at the lowest level. In the artillery, we had this saying back when I was in the military. We called it top-down planning, bottom-up refinement.
Florida Democratic Party.
That's what we need to institute when we start talking about our education. Because no one knows better
At the end of the conference, you're going to need to hand the tape over to
How do you figure that? It's a public event.
You can take it over.
So one of the first things I say we got to
I have to tell my supervisor that this is for the Democratic Party, so
education is an issue that
let you know.
each one of these communities have to wrap their hands around.
They're probably going to ask you to
And when we
give it to
do
them.
that, when we start
Yeah, I'm
taking
not doing that, but
more
We'll see what happens after.
importance in these school board elections and making sure that we have the right people on these school boards that will go and be a voice for you. And I think one of the critical things we have to look at is education has become too top-heavy. You look at the disparity in the education system between the bureaucrats and the people that are in the trenches. See, that's upside down. And I always tell people, there are two types of individuals that sustain a society. Those are the people that teach it, and those are the people that defend it. But if you look and understand, who are the ones that are on the low part of the totem pole when it comes to compensation? Our teachers and our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. We've got to invert that. When you go down and you look at these very big, pristine school board headquarters, being in Fort Lauderdale or West Palm Beach, when you go and look at these huge bureaucratic offices for all of these different districts, but then you go into the schools and you find teachers that are not well paid and that are having to go out and buy their own supplies. That is not the way that we push down the resources to the lowest level, so that they can execute in the trenches. The second point that I want to bring out is that we've got to get back to enforcing critical skills of reading, of writing, of mathematics, of science, of geography, of civics, of history, of art appreciation, music appreciation. And another thing we got to do is about physical education. And physical education is not about a bunch of kids coming into the gym or going out into the bleachers and sitting down and reading magazines. I gotta tell you, we had some coaches that when you showed up for PE, you stretched and you started doing some exercise. And think about how that prepares. Think about how that gets into the young person's mind. Think about how that affects the healthcare situation in the United States of America. You got to start teaching people that you got to take care of your body at a very early age. And that means with nutrition. That means with a physical education
You're gonna
program.
have to
It
ask me to
really
be
does
yourself,
focus
don't it?
on
Only the
that.
media can say.
Well, let me tell you about
Okay.
one of the
Or
things
when
that
you
I did a
become
little
an
research on. I found out about.
Yeah. Okay.
There's an organization here called the Citizens for National Security. And they've been doing